Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Season 2, Episode 20 of The Owl House, the second to last episode of the season. And it really sucks. It really sucks that we're already at the end of the season, especially because Season 3 is going to be so short whenever that ends up coming. We don't know yet, to my knowledge, unless I missed something. But either way, because it's going to be so short, it sucks that we're already at the end of Season 2. And with how last episode ended, with the kind of real convergence of the cats, the covens against the throne, and just the rebellion in general, just like really being locked in now, shit's about to get real. And I think that was pretty obvious anyway. I think it was like kind of a duh factor that shit was about to get real. This finale is going to be intense. And people in the fandom often joke about how every time a new episode comes out, or whenever the series comes off of hiatus or whatever, it's like, oh boy, we're ready for more trauma. But that's kind of how it feels going into this. Like, I don't know anything that's going to happen. I've avoided spoilers, even though apparently all of today, I'm recording this on Saturday, there were apparently spoilers all over like YouTube and social media and stuff, from what I heard. I luckily was able to completely avoid anything, so I don't know anything about what's going to happen, but still, I'm kind of just gearing up for something. I'm just expecting something to happen that's either going to be really traumatic, or at least make you temporarily believe that, because Season 1 definitely did that with its two-part finale. With the way Part 1 ended, it left you on this cliffhanger that was really depressing and really just hard to handle in a way. And so when the final episode came into play, it obviously helped in that, as well as helped develop things for the future really well, and help develop characters in their just overall cycle as they've been going. It did really well to kind of bring us back from that depression and that trauma. I don't know if Season 2 is going to do that, because like I said before, I'm still thinking this could end on a big cliffhanger that's going to lead us into those few episodes of Season 3. And if it does that, the cliffhanger's gotta be massive. Like, next level massive. Because it has to be something that would lead into the final 3 episodes of the series in a way that would make it truly feel intense, scary, and legitimately painful. That's the only way to truly make it work in this regard, and I hate it. I hate that's, I feel, where it could lead. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. With Amphibia just recently ending as well, and I've heard a lot of fans are really satisfied with that ending, though still obviously sad that there's no more. I really want Owl House to end on a very satisfying, positive note as well. I really want this series to stick the landing, even with what it's been given. Even with what Dana and the crew have been forced to cut and work with because of Disney executive meddling. I just want them to really give us the best they can. Because we know it's not going to be what we deserve. We know it's not going to be what they deserve. And at this point, we just unfortunately have to accept it. We need to work to make sure that this shit doesn't keep happening. But unfortunately, with the Owl House, we kind of have to accept it and just leave it at this for now. I trust that Dana and the crew will do their best. So, however this season ends, I'm putting my faith in them. Whether it ends on a really even painful cliffhanger, I'm going to completely believe that they will bring it back in the next season. The final season, the final 3 episodes. So, here's to hoping that no matter what, this finale is next level. The best of the series, preferably. But we'll see. At least for now. We'll see. But yeah, so we're just going to get this started and see where it takes us. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So yeah, this episode did pretty much everything I was kind of hoping for it to do. Really setting up for the beginning of the Day of Unity, starting to showcase Luce's Palisman, even if it's just a little hint. It'll probably come into play next episode. We'll probably see the egg hatch then. If we don't, I will honestly be very surprised. And it showed the rebellion taking the next steps in stopping the Day of Unity and how that's kind of going to go down. We learned the plans, we got everything set up, but unfortunately the Emperor knows that this is happening. And he's very much prepared, that's obvious. Luckily, Alador was able to at least temporarily put a halt on Blight Industries' production. But you know that's not going to stop Odalia for long. And he's going to help them go to the Day of Unity celebration and try to stop the Abomatons and stuff that are already there. And I'm glad that he's on their side. And let's be honest, Alador was always the much more reasonable one of the two. He definitely was involved in some bad stuff, like just even from... He was fully complicit in the original breakup of Amity and Willow's friendship. He was just as complicit in that as Odalia was. And he is very much shown to have done some bad things and mistreated his children and everything. But he also has shown a penchant for growth. We saw that before in the episode with the fighting tournament and everything, and learning about Luce's father in that episode. We saw a lot of possibility for growth for him, and his acceptance of Luce and everything as Amity's girlfriend. It was really set up well. So in this episode, through talking to King and everything, and finding out about what's going on, him turning against not only his wife but the Emperor makes sense. It's fitting. This episode really has kind of 2 portions to it. The first portion is just the setup and the explanation for the plans, what our rebellion are going to do as they split into 2 separate groups. The group that is going to kind of infiltrate the Emperor's coven systems and everything, which unfortunately is known about, which is an issue. But then there's also the group who is going on a rescue mission to free Amity and, by extension, her siblings as well. And that goes off pretty damn successfully, luckily. Though I don't think we actually saw Edric and Emra at the end there, so I think they're still, unfortunately, captured, which is a problem. But we'll see how that goes down with the next episode. And while we don't really get to see anything for the Coven infiltration section of this yet, other than the fact that we're seeing that Ida is going to use one of the stones to transform herself to look like Rain and take their place. Other than that, we don't really get to see any of that in action. This episode does mostly focus on the rescue mission. And we finally get the fucking kiss. And it made me cry. It's like we've had a couple cheek kisses, but now we have a full on the lips kiss. And it leaves me conflicted. Not because of the series itself or the episode or the kiss itself. That's phenomenal and I love it and it makes me tear up even now as I'm thinking about it. It's such a win. It leaves me conflicted because of Disney's meddling. The executives who said that this wasn't like on brand for them and everything, and who canceled the series to have a shortened run, a shortened third season, massively shortened too, to where it was very clear it was, at least to a high degree, because of the insistence on the queer positivity of this series. And I'm glad that Dana continued to stand her ground on this. And I'm glad that they worked to make this happen. Because her partner, Alex Hirsch, he wasn't able to get this done with Gravity Falls. He wanted to. But they would not allow him. And the only reason they even allowed anything with Blubs and Durland in the end was because they were seen as comedic gag characters. Him being so involved in this series and helping his partner be able to bring this into the world is so important. I talked about it last week with the last reaction on how important this show is. And the queer representation is one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest. The representation in this show it's unprecedented for a Disney cartoon. But honestly, for a lot of cartoons, like, yes, we've had other cartoons by this day and age that have had queer kisses. We've had She-Ra, we've had Adventure Time. We've had shows that have done this. But She-Ra had to be relegated to a streaming service. And Adventure Time, for most of its run, they had to play coy with Bubblegum and Marceline. And were only able to give a kiss at the very end. Mind you, they got some streaming specials after the fact, but again, it kind of had to be relegated to streaming. And I know one of those specials is about Bubblegum and Marceline. So that kind of tells you a lot still. And Steven Universe had some successes. Steven Universe is probably one of the biggest ones that had as many successes as it did, but it was a different network, too. Cartoon Network is a little more accepting of that, it seems. And even Nickelodeon with The Loud House. But a lot of these modern cartoons with the really notable queer representation, again, stuff like She-Ra, are going to be relegated to streaming services and whatnot. And it's fucking terrible. And so with Dana trying to get this out on television, on the Disney Channel and everything, the fact that it did end up getting canceled is a travesty. And this is the company that makes this big point out of, oh, we have Pride merch, and Disney is for everyone and shit. And it's like, but you cancel a series because of its queer representation. And mind you, I understand Disney is so massive that they have different groups of people in charge of different aspects. The people in charge of the Disney Channel are not the same people in charge of the marketing for Disney as a whole. I understand that. But still, there should be some level of consistency within the company, even with it being so big and monopolizing so much of the entertainment industry. There should still be a level of consistency. And hopefully one day we'll get there. Hopefully we will. But for now, we should and very much need to celebrate even the smallest victories. And seeing Luz and Amity kiss full on the mouth in this episode is more than just a little victory. It's a massive victory. To see two girls not only just call each other their girlfriends, but to see them openly show public displays of affection, to see them openly kiss on the mouth is important for the future of animation. And it's going to change things. We're going to have more queer creators coming out and making shows that they want to showcase this level of representation or even more in. And I'm so glad that we're able to work towards that. But we do have to work towards it. And it sucks that we have to work towards it still. It sucks that we're still not at that point in 2022. But we're not fucking giving up. We will be seen. Because I can tell you, if cartoons like this had been on TV when I was a kid, I wouldn't have had to wait until I was in my 20s to come out. Either as queer in general or as trans specifically. I would have known who I was long before I did. And the fact that kids nowadays are getting to see this, it's so important. But this episode, while the Lumity stuff is amazing, also has a lot of concern that it raises for the final episode next week of the season and the few episodes that are going to come for season 3. Luz is captured, having been under illusion magic to be disguised as Hunter, who himself was disguised as Luz. She's being taken by Kikimora to Belos, and we don't know what he'll do with her. The Collector is planned to be released following the Day of Unity, and who knows what that's gonna come to. Because it's still unclear if the Collector's actually evil or not, and if they are, they would probably be an even bigger threat than Belos. But if they're not, what is their true motivation? Is it just wanting friendship and people to play with and hang out with? I don't know. I could not tell you. And then the fact that the Emperor knows that the rebellion is coming to infiltrate is obviously very bad. And they presumably even know about who's in the rebellion. Darius mentioned that the Emperor had replacements for all of them, for all the Coven heads, just in case, I guess. The final episode of this season is going to be insane. It's going to be very intense. The Day of Unity is here. And we're not slowing down. With how this first episode of this finale ended, I definitely think next week's episode, I definitely think now that it's going to end on a cliffhanger. there's no way that a single episode is going to close this entire thing out. Or even just in a satisfactory enough way to start from the beginning again in season 3. We're going to end on a huge, massive, monumental cliffhanger. And season 3 will pick up right where that left off. And I really hope we don't have to wait too long. Hopefully, season 3 will come by the end of the year. That would be my wish. But either way, this set up a lot. This really tackled the Blight family conflicts. That was the major factor in this. Really settling a lot with that. And I'm not sure if Odalia can be turned around at this point. I'm not sure. It seems her entire motivation is centering around being above others. She seems to only want power and prestige and position. The P words. We're alliterating here. But it seems like that's the kind of stuff she wants, and I don't know the reason. Maybe we'll find out. But it's like there's 4 episodes of this series left. The finale of season 2 and then 3 double-length episodes of season 3. So it's like, I don't know if we're going to find that out. And I don't know if we'll be able to conclude everything in that regard. There's just so much that I feel like could still be explored. But I don't know. Again, I trust Dana. I trust the team. I truly believe they're going to all be able to pull this off and make it a very satisfying conclusion. But at the same time, I am concerned, admittedly, and rightfully so. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully, when it does finally end, it'll be just as satisfying as Amphibia's ending was for all of the fans who just really had come to love that show so much. Even if we can't get a full 3rd season, I trust Dana and the team to make it the best possible. But yeah, this obviously was still an amazing episode in its own right. And I'm very excited to see how this all ends next week. Tell me your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.